and around your finger. You wrap me, you grab me around and around and around your finger. Check me about and cut me loose. I am a glutton for the punishment and abuse. Take the best of me and leave me you strung out, stalled, and broken too. You wrap me, you grab me around and around and around your finger. You wrap me, you grab me around and around and around your finger.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Aces, Axes fans, Funk N Waffles fans, my bucket of buds family. Here we go with Tone Zone number 19 at Funk N Waffles. We are getting up there in numbers. And behind me, we have 4/5 of the Mattydale Music Collective on a very special night. It is the album release party of What Real Life Is. So I'm super excited to hear this tonight, guys. Welcome to the couch.
Thank you.
Yes, awesome. So, you guys had told me earlier this is actually not the first album release party you've had here. How many have you had here overall?
This will be our second one that we released. That we had their CD release party for here. We did "Honey, I'm Doing Just Fine," which Mattydale actually played at. That was back in 2018. We unfortunately released a COVID record, so no CD release for that. And then now this one.
So I guess since I'm the fun Patreon behind-the-scenes guy at Funk N Waffles, why have you chosen Funk N Waffles for a place to do your CD release party again?
They're always easy to deal with, and it's the premier venue in Syracuse. Yeah.
I love how good it sounds here. It's one of those things where being at some clubs weekly like I am would not be the best on my ears and everything like that. And here, and it's like we have jam bands here, we have jazz bands here, we have alternative bands like you guys. I've seen metal bands here, and they all sound good, and it's everything like that. So we appreciate you guys coming back here and showing the love to Funk N Waffles. So this is their fourth album they're releasing tonight. First one is called Dream Wild in 2017. Is that how it's pronounced? Dream Wild? Awesome. And the next one was Honey, I'm Doing Just Fine. Then we have No Thief, However Skillful, which was the COVID album. And then the new one tonight. I forgot to introduce you guys. I apologize for that. We've got Lee over here on vocals. What's going on, Lee?
What's up, everybody?
We've got Matt with 1 T on guitar.
How's it going?
We've got Matt with 2 T's on guitar.
Hey, yo.
And down here on the end, we have Anthony on bass.
Yo.
All right. So I usually give like a quick little synopsis of what I hear from the band and everything like that. And I'm a 90s kid. I grew up listening to movie soundtracks. And that's one thing that I kind of got from you guys are from like a Kevin Smith movie from the 90s where it's almost like one song's almost like Liz Phair, then you've got a Gin Blossoms type song, and then like a Butthole Surfers song where it's not just one avenue, which I really appreciate. I loved listening to radio back in the day, and you'd hear all those different kind of bands and everything, and it was never got boring. I don't want to hear the same thing for 45 minutes, and you guys bring that. Is there one major songwriter, or are there different songwriters, and that's where the different flavors come from?
So it started out with me and him writing songs, and
Do you play instruments also?
I do not play instruments. I play a little bit of keyboard. I play bass on like one song back in the day, but generally I'm just singing. So yeah, I write like maybe the majority of the songs, and then he's about 40%, and then Double T down here has written like a few songs. One which was off the last album, which was our lead single, and I really like that song. So
Thanks, man.
So what bands are you influenced then, considering it's kind of all over the place? Are there certain few artists who you kind of lean towards, or is it literally just a bevy of different people?
I would say we could start down here, kind of
Yeah.
goes like a
So,
spectrum.
like me personally, I like metal and grunge music a lot. I like country as well.
We talking modern country, or are we talking like 50s, 60s country?
More of the older style, but there are modern artists who know how to do it. Like Charlie Crockett's real good. Coulter Wall, he's another modern guy that I like a lot. But really, favorite band, Metallica, through and through. You're never going to beat them. You're never going to stop me from liking them.
And it put on an absolute amazing show for over 30 plus years straight and everything like that, which is
in April, really fucking pumped.
which is hard to say because it's like, I mean, Rolling Stones have been doing it a long time. I saw them in the mid 90s. It was not really the funnest thing to see live and everything like that. And it's like, I really wanted them to be cool, and I was like, it's not really happening. Where Metallica, it's like, yo, they are still bringing the fire and everything like that. So bring up some Metallica. Hell yeah. Right. And they're still playing. I mean, all the down picking and everything like that. Like, they aren't sugarcoating it. So hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Yep. And Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, stuff like that. Real big influences on me. That's kind of where I come from. Classic rock, the good Zeppelin, that old kind of shit.
And definitely the stuff that I had picked up on in the mid 90s and everything like that. Alice in Chains actually on a bunch of the Kevin Smith records and everything like that. So perfect.
Eric Cantrell plays the guitar.
Oh, hell yeah. I got to see Alice in Chains once live, front row at Landmark, luckily, because of Joey G at K-Rock hooked me up with the tickets, and I just got to sit there the whole time and just be like, dude, this is childhood hero and everything that far for me and everything. So
Yeah, I saw them when they came to the fair last year or the year before or whatever. They're still, just like Metallica, man, they're still rocking.
fuck yeah, man. Awesome. And continuing on with Matt, what about you?
So I would say there's a lot of musical overlap between us, but there are definitely artists that we each kind of listen to more so than others. I'm a big Elliott Smith fan, Neutral Milk Hotel, that kind of weird side of the 90s music. I like it all, really. Can't really go wrong, but also, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a huge Beatles fan. That's my favorite band, just as far as their impact on music and all that stuff. So I think...
Do you have a favorite Beatles era? If you're real, is there like, oh, you really like the White Album? Is there an album?
I mean, it's cool, those transitional records between the poppier stuff and the more psychedelic stuff is cool. So like Rubber Soul or Revolver, a lot of fun. But
Very cool.
Can't go wrong with any of it, I don't think. But I do think it's what makes our band really interesting is that we all listen to a lot of different music, and you can hear a lot of that. Even if you can't hear specific artists, you can kind of hear, the influences in the music that we listen to, which I appreciate.
It's exciting for the listener because you kind of pull in these little things and you're like, oh, I kind of hear that, but it's a different take on it and everything like that. So I let sometimes, you get to hear some jam bands and it's like, I don't want to hear 45 minutes of just people going off and everything. I like to hear people write coherent songs, and you guys are writing coherent songs, and they're different coherent songs. So it takes a lot to be able to write in different mediums and everything like that. So kudos to you guys. It's very awesome. Moving down the line, what about you, sir?
I would say I just want to highlight like our rap influence. There's a little bit of like Outkast, Lupe Fiasco, those sorts of people who are like socially conscious. And I think that comes out in a lot of our music. And then the last couple of years, I've been listening to a lot of like female artists, and just like for a different perspective. I think like Snail Mail, Soccer Mommy. We're going to be doing a Soccer Mommy song tonight. And then obviously classic rock, 90s. Then my wife is a DJ on a radio station, so we keep up to date with a lot of the pop music. and stuff, which there's a lot of like wordplay and interesting like jokey things, which I try to put in my songs, which like you look at an artist like Sabrina Carpenter or some of those female artists that I've mentioned already, they have so much wit and like humor in some of their songs. So I really, especially lately, I've been trying to kind of add that a little bit more and not be as serious in my songwriting. So that's definitely, in the 90s, grunge, Sublime is probably my favorite band of all time, which is another band that bends genre and does all kinds of different stuff kind of seamlessly, and that's what we strive for. So.
Yeah, female vocals and everything. I love Tricky and all the Massive Attack stuff, and he always was like, "Oh, I've got to have female, lyricists and vocalists and everything like that." So, and down at the end, Anthony, what about you?
Yeah, so like Matt, the Beatles are my favorite, and I think more so with my bass playing. Paul McCartney really inspired my bass playing, and it's really bouncy and. I like a lot of the Motown bass players too. I don't necessarily have as much of that in my bass playing, but it's definitely something that I like and inspires me. As far as our band, we're all over the place. Like they said, classic rock 90s. I think we all really like the band.
Okay.
That roots Americana stuff. And I think that comes out sometimes. But lately our sound has really been more 90s or like more alternative. It used to be more folky. It used to be kind of funk or psychedelic, but that's like you said, it's cool that it evolves over time. Yeah. And it just all comes out naturally with all the music that we listen to. So that's what makes it so fun for me.
Definitely, and I would say too, some British punk bands, like totally blanking on the name of the band right now. The Clash. One of my favorite bands. Give Them Some Rope is one of my favorite albums. They're punk, but they're not really. They're like a classic rock band. All of their songs have groove.
With some reggae influence and everything. So like you said, the genre bending thing and everything like that. So totally. So we've got a little bit of history of the band. I'm from Liverpool. I had asked him off camera, but I thought I'd ask him on camera. Mattydale, is there a favorite store from Mattydale that you guys are missing? We've got Media Play, we've got Daddy's Junkie Music, we've got Kmart. Is there a favorite? We got Wolf Inn, which I guess was like more of a bar. My high school band played there and did not buy crack or prostitutes. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it. But is there a favorite thing from Mattydale for all you local cats out there? Maybe Switz's. I don't know if any of you guys are old enough for that. Is there something you guys are missing?
I miss Hoffman's.
Oh, that's a good call. The hot dog place. Good call.
Everything you named, for sure.
They're the best fries.
Yeah. Cheese fries were amazing.
Their mac and cheese was, people talk about the hot dogs, obviously. Mac and cheese at Hoffman's was
Woo! I didn't know they even had
on
it.
point,
so.
my friend.
They
on
carry
point.
birch beer, which you can't get a lot of places either. That was so good.
I don't know if that's a Northeast thing or something like that. Not a lot of people talk about birch beer, but good call. I like that. So talking a little bit about the 2020 album, because the other one just got released today and I wasn't able to listen to it except for the 2 lead tracks. I love how you've got 3 rockers on it. You've got 2 songs that are like the folk Americana. You've got a song that's almost reggae, ska-like and everything like that. So like all the influences coming out a little bit. And then my personal favorite, and you actually talked a little bit about how you were saying you like Outkast and people that talk a little bit about more serious things. I think Mother Earth and the Father Time is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. It's absolutely fantastic. Between the lyrics, the video for it, and I'm a big MTV kid and everything like that, so I usually talk about videos. Where did the video concept come from? Because we've got the cartoon in the beginning like that. I didn't know if one of you was an actual artist. Oh, fantastic. That's one of my questions. So how did that video and the whole concept, I love the song, how did it all come about?
So, I did the animation with, I had a lot of time. It was during the pandemic, so also pre-kid for me, so I had like an insane amount of time to do stuff. And I did the stop animation with the globe, and I thought that was just really cool. And then we had actually had a friend of ours who had a lot of drone footage from his travels, and basically he was able to incorporate a lot of that into there.
That's beautiful was one of my questions, because it didn't look like stock footage, and I was like, ooh, one of you get to travel a whole lot, so that's awesome that it's still somebody you know and everything. That's great.
Buddy Bill Drew, shout out Bill. He did the actually he did all of the filming too that we did at the Rose Garden there too in the city, and that's where that was shot like on site, and it was a cool thing.
Yeah, one of the coolest places in the city, Thornton Park.
Yeah.
And I felt like that song in particular was it's really hard to make a video for every song, right? But that song in particular I felt was important because of the message and because of the content of the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I think that's if I remember correctly, that's what we end the record with. So it's kind of a nice way we thought like to end the record with something like thoughtful instead of
Positive.
You know,
Yeah. No, if that's something that represents Central New York, I think all of us would be really happy. So if that's a song you guys haven't heard yet, I adventure everyone to please go out and listen to it. It's got some of the I put the lyrics and everything like that. I know some people get a little embarrassed, but my mother is earth, my father is time. We were only children. Born into humankind, so be kind. Beautiful stuff, man. Absolutely beautiful. And I love how you end the video with you smiling and everything like that. I was like, oh, it just absolutely gives me goosebumps. So, yeah, Central New York has so many amazing bands in it and everything like that. So, also, you had another video for When Love Goes Bad, lyrical video, but did you do all the art for it also? Yeah. Awesome.
Super labor intensive.
I can imagine because it reminded me of the Paranoid Android Radiohead. Is that,
Well, that's not, that video's got a weird place for me because when I was a kid, I vaguely remember the video, and for years I've tried to figure out what song it was until one day, like 15 years ago, I stumbled on the music video. I'd always known the song, but I saw the music video. I was like, that's the one. But
because you have one part where I think it's after the solo, the arm gets cut off, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, the Radiohead thing and everything like that. So I thought it was absolutely.
That was it's not anything that I was going for at the time. I was just kind of going for something that would break up the seriousness of the song in a way. It's like, oh, it's kind of funny, you know what I mean? So it was,
but
a little more shredding guitar solo. So the fast playing, I was like, it'd be funny if his arm fell off.
But absolutely awesome stuff. I thought it was very cool. So considering songwriter and all the art stuff, you're a very talented man, Matt. So you should take pride in all that you do. What's that?
We're glad to have him in the band.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. This is number 19 now. And it seems like every band, there's always one, at least, artist that's kind of just like, doesn't really let everybody know he does all the art stuff. And then when I start talking about it, everybody's like, no, we got to thank this guy and everything. So the new album, I love the yellow balloon theme and everything like that. Obviously with, I got a balloon animal on me and balloons. Being a clown lover, I enjoy the yellow balloons. So what Real Life is, who wants to tell me all about the process of it? Was it recorded home studio or in a studio?
Yeah, so this album and our last album, we worked with a producer named Josh Coy, who's in Sympathy and Long Since Forgotten, and been a Syracuse-based musician for a long time. Recently moved to New York. Right at the beginning of this album, we did our drums with him in person, and then we recorded everything else in Anthony's basement. And so we would bounce him the tracks every day, and they would piece it together. And he was going through a lot at the time, so it was just kind of piecemeal over the course of like 6 months. And it was a lot of fun. And then he took it all and, did his magic, produced it, helped us add a little more bibs and bobs and stuff like that. And then we got it mastered and everything else. So, yeah.
He's very good at what he does. I think he's very good at capturing the feeling of a song, and there are songs that we've done with him that when it's done, I'm like, this is as close to the version of the song that I heard in my head as I could have probably gotten.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we're all self-taught musicians. Like I did a couple.
Whoop whoop.
I did a couple years of chorus in high school, and he took some theory classes, double T. But we are all kind of just winging it. So to have him, who has a little bit more of that musical background, to be able to go. I know what you're going for here, but maybe if we do it this way, that definitely adds a little bit of an adult in the room vibe to help us get along a little bit. So, yeah.
The yellow balloon theme, is that a certain reason, or is it just like something you guys came up with and you were like, oh, let's keep going with that?
Yeah, so I was going to a music festival, and I stopped at a dollar store, and I just got a bag of yellow balloons, and then I was blowing them up all weekend, and I was throwing them up into the crowd. And then I was like, maybe I'll do this like all the time. Like maybe I'll make it my thing. And then we were looking for
Just all the time.
Everybody's got a thing. You gotta have a thing.
maybe I go to a lot of concerts. Maybe every time I go to a concert, I'll like throw up the happy face balloons. So then like 6 months later, we were looking for a theme for the record, and I mentioned the balloon thing to them, and I was like, well, we can't use the dollar store balloon ones because maybe they're copyrighted. So Matt actually made a custom design for the balloon. You can see it's a little drooling a little bit, but and then we went through Salt Point Photo Club.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. And they got a bunch of the balloons, and we blew them up, and we went around the city with that photo club, and they took pictures all over downtown, and really turned out beautifully. So we've been kind of riding that wave and using that for the album art.
Awesome. Are we going to be doing vinyl, CD? I know some people are doing audio cassette. What mediums are you guys hoping to put, or just digital at this point, or what are we thinking?
Yeah, that's I think in the last year or two has probably been the hardest thing to try to figure out, like how to navigate being a band,
Yeah.
right? It's just like an ever-changing landscape of how people consume. And in the past, we've done vinyl. We love that. If it wasn't so expensive, we would love to release it, all of our records on vinyl all the time. But everything's out on any streaming platform you can find. Unfortunately, due to a blunder on my behalf, our CDs are not here in time for the CD release show, but I do plan on still getting those.
Cool. I love
So
CDs,
we'll have physicals. I am a nerd and I still play CDs, so
They sound so much better. It's one of those things where it's like if somebody puts on like an MP3 of something and then you play the real CD version of it, you're like, wait, there are all those sounds of it that I'm missing and everything like that.
holding on to something physical is my favorite thing. So.
Yeah, and having getting to look at the liner notes and everything. Yeah, and I never got into vinyl because my age, all I would end up doing is rebuying all of my favorite CDs on vinyl, and I would just go absolute broke. So it just didn't make sense to me. Awesome. So the video for Wrapped Around Your Finger, is that the studio in your basement and everything like that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Whose idea was it? Because visually, it's funny. It was about the fourth time watching it where I was like, oh, it's like the camera's being wrapped around your finger. I was like, I'm really dumb. So it was actually a really great concept, and I wish I understood. Whose idea was it to do that?
I think it was his. He brought his
Matt.
turntable over.
Yeah.
we use a record player.
It's on a record player.
Oh, that's awesome. I was wondering.
The GoPro on a tripod on a record player, and then turned it on, and I had to slow it down considerably on the actual footage because people were getting people were getting ill, I think. I was editing it, and I was like, this is too much, so I backed out and slowed it down. But I think the concept still comes across in that way, and it was an easy way to. We're like at the end of band practice, we'll set up the camera, we'll get a couple runs through, I'll get enough footage to be able to do it, and I used a weird filter on that I found that was just like I accidentally clicked on accident. I was like, that's actually cool. I'll keep it.
I use iMovie, and it's the similar one. I think it's called like Duotone or something, and I've used it for parts of things. I was like, ooh, I kind of recognize that and everything.
Yeah.
It reminded me of there's a Saturday Night Live sketch with Will Ferrell, and he's on like the middle of a wheel doing a Christmas song. He ends up barfing all over the place and everything. So when you said that, I was like, oh, I could see that. And then the second single and the video for it, Until the Wheels Fall Off, awesome fucking song. As you can see, the production, it sounds like you could put that on K-Rock and no one would be like, oh, that's a local band. Like, it just sounds like a song. So it has a Red Hot Chili Peppers riff to it and everything. I don't know who wrote the main riff, but it's an awesome, awesome riff.
Yeah, that was that one means something to me. It's special to me in a lot of ways.
Sweet. Well, it's a great fucking riff. The video for that, is that all footage of driving different places and everything like that?
It was my wife and I took a trip to the Grand Canyon, and when we were going from Vegas to the Grand Canyon, we literally went through like all the different seasons. That's all that footage I got was in 2 days, pretty much. So the snow, the rain, the sunshine, all that stuff was in a 5-hour drive to and from the Grand Canyon. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I absolutely love it, man. So we're gonna get into a little gear talk if you guys don't mind. Here. So Matt with 2 T's, your Fender Strat. See, you've got modded quite a bit. I love all the gold hardware. I've got a pink Strat with all gold hardware. Is that a I want to say a early 2010 American-made satin Fender by chance? Do you?
Good, my man. That's that is a 2013 American-made Strat.
You can actually ask Grady, the door guy, because I was like, I know what that guitar is, because those guitars, I worked at GC at that time, and were the last best value guitars ever fucking made. Those things, because being satin, so they were basically like the old Strats from the 50s. Yep. And it was before all the prices went high before COVID and everything like that.
It was only $800.
I told him it was $800 fucking dollars. I literally, you can ask him off camera. Holy shit, man. Yeah, dude, those guitars, because they made basses also, and those basses, I tell people, I'm like, yo, if you can find a used one, snag those, because the color and everything,
That specific guitar, I went in, I'm looking around, I saw one on the rack, I picked it up, and I'm looking at it, and...
Did you buy it new?
Yes.
I may have been there at the time.
I feel like I might have seen...
I used to have dreads and weighed about 100 pounds more, so yeah.
But the guy ringing me out, he says... He starts ringing me out and he says, it says I got 2, so I got one more in the back, and being the natural wood tone, you want me to just bring it out?
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Brings it out, and that's the one I ended up taking, was the one that was out back.
That is so cool.
Yep.
It looks like you have modded it, though, like I said, with the gold. The gold pick guard, I can't wait to try to photograph it. I'm hoping it gets all cool and lights and everything.
Give me a new profile.
Yeah, definitely. And then I saw at least it looked like the bridge pickup was a Seymour Duncan quarter pounder or something.
Seymour
Oh,
Duncans.
awesome.
They're all 3 of them are modded in there. The 2 are just single coils. The last one, I put a single coil humbucker in there just to get a little more of that on that last pickup. And that's, That's my solo channel.
Awesome. But yeah, that guitar is, I'm so happy to see one of those out in the wild because those things are one of the best values and everything like that. You plug into an Orange Crush Pro 60. Do you use, I see it's got 2 channels. Do you use just one channel and then?
I use the clean, and then everything else goes through the pedals.
Awesome. And you've got not a crazy intricate pedal board, but enough to make a bunch of fun noise with. You've got a Donner tuner, a KOK compressor, and then the wah is I forgot the name of it, but I know it's a very high-end wah, correct?
It's a Dunlop brand. I honestly can't remember the specific model of the wah, but yeah, it's got a boost switch on the side. There's another switch that changes the type of wah sound it makes, and then it's got another switch on it to be more bassy, more treble. I've always liked the Dunlop wahs, being a Metallica fan.
I was going to say, being a Kirk Hammett fan, you have to have a wah.
You got it. Kirk Hammett is my guy, just like Jerry Cantrell, another wah pedal guy, and they both use Dunlop. So
Jerry Cantrell. From what everybody says, Jerry Cantrell's wah is supposed to be highly sought after and everything. I haven't used it, but
I haven't used it either. And I had a talk box pedal for a while because of him, because he uses the talk box a lot. I don't think a lot of people know that, but the talk, like Rotten Apple, for instance, is his talk box pedal.
Dude.
That shit is awesome.
And I'm such a big fan of when they did, let's do the heavy LP and then let's do the acoustic EP and everything. And you guys kind of did that just in a smaller format and everything, but it was always one of my favorite things growing up. I was like, why don't more bands do this? And it's like, oh, because they're not super talented, that's why. Yeah. And then you've got an Earthquaker, his fuzz pedal.
So that thing, I mean, I have been looking for the right fuzz overdrive tone for near a decade, my man.
Fuzzes are incredibly hard to work with.
I was with, which I still have on the pedal board, the Boss Blues Overdriver. It's a great sound, but it didn't have the punch behind it that I was looking for. I was literally just last year for Christmas surfing Sweetwater for hours and hours and hours. Saw this fuzz pedal. I literally thought it looked cool because it had 2 jackrabbits on it.
Right, and it goes along with the last album, actually, and everything. So I'm a very visual person, so perfect.
Watched a video on it. Some lady from some Korean metal band's fuzz pedal, her signature fuzz pedal, and it sounded awesome. So I said, that's the one, I guess.
Oh, yeah. That's fantastic. And then you end with a couple Boss pedals, the Blues Driver, the Tremolo, and then an Electro Harmonix Canyon. So no, you're not using any effects on the amp, right? Just getting them all for them?
A little bit of reverb from the amp, but that's it.
Cool. Awesome. Do you have any pedal that obviously you do clean, distorted tones, so do you leave like the compressor on at all times, or not really?
Not really. The compressor, sometimes usually I use that for if, honestly, this might sound silly, but if sound check doesn't go totally right and I can't hear myself in a solo, that's what I kick that on for. It just gives me a little bit extra volume.
Compressor is one of those things where it's like everybody can use it as a completely different pedal, and they're so work on so many different things that aren't just a compressor and everything like that. So awesome. And Matt with 1T over here, also with Stratocaster, but looks like more 3 single coil route. Doesn't look like it's modified as much.
Yeah.
And is that color-wise, is that Champagne Sparkle? Do you by chance know what it is?
Actually, it's Champagne Sparkle. Yeah, there was 2 that I was going between. They have a copper finish.
Yes,
They got the champagne. That's what that one was. That one, 2019 Fender American Stratocaster. It's my baby. I like that one.
Yeah, that into a Fender amp. I mean, you really can't go wrong with it, because that Fender twin reverb that you have in the Cream, I was oogling it while you guys were playing the Cream with the dark grill and everything like that. Is that a limited edition color that they did?
Yeah, I think so. It's, I've had a lot of different amps, tube, solid state, whatever. And that one is actually a solid state amp, but what they did with that is they took the all the computing power that it has, instead of giving you like 150 guitar tones that you're never going to use, they just put it into making it sound like more like a tube amp. So it's like a third of the weight, and when you play them side by side, you'd be surprised at how close it gets to that traditional.
Because it's the Tone Master series, I believe.
Yeah.
Big Shrimp used them when they were here. I want to say 3 or 4 different bands who have sat on the couch, and every single person that uses them, they're like, they're like, if you can hear the difference, they're like, you can, but they're like, I can't. And they're more reliable and less weight, so it's like a triple win for everybody. So, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I was wondering how long you've had it. So, and then you use an acoustic Fender Kingman also for the Sonoran.
Yeah,
I believe. I'm sorry about that. I think Kingman is the bass version of that, I believe. Your compressor you use is a lot more in depth, though. You have a Keeley compressor on your board. Is that something you keep on at all times?
I do. Yeah, for better or worse. Sometimes I don't know. It gets a little wonky when you get talking about the fuzz and stuff like that sometimes. So that's the only one that I really have ever had a problem with keeping that on for as well. So
yeah, fuzzes are. It's so weird because like I grew up where everyone's just Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream, and it's just like everyone talked about a Big Muff, and I'd get one and I'd be like, I can't make it sound like that at all. I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about and everything? So yeah, fuzz pedals are extremely hard to work with. And you have a couple doped down electro pedals. That real echo pedal. How long have you had that? It looks like it's it's probably vintage at this point, actually, in all honesty.
I'm not the first owner, but I'm a big fan of Dan Electro. I've got several of their guitars and a lot of their pedals. They're one of those brands that if it's good, it's great, and if it's bad, it's really bad.
Yep.
So you got to take it with a grain of salt. You might get a pedal that you're like, I've used was it Black Coffee Overdrive or something like that. They're all named weird names, but
Grilled cheese overdrive.
yeah, the grilled cheese. They're just hard. They're finicky and they're hard to work with. But when you find a good one like I got the tremolo on there.
The Cool Cat one,
Yeah.
which is a fantastic name.
Yeah. And the Echo, the real Echo, is I got that off eBay last year. I finally found one that was reasonably priced, and it came with all the original boxes and literature, which I'm a big nerd for. But
Hell yeah.
I love that pedal. That one's awesome, and yeah, it's not a very complex pedal board, but I think it does the trick,
Totally, yeah. And it's funny because there's a lot of people that use the mini tube screamer as opposed to the full size, so it seems like everybody's getting the tone out of the mini one that they're getting out of the full size. I saw that you had that one on there. And then you use the Big Muff, and then you have a cool TC electronic pedal on there that I can't say I know much about. It looks like it's an old one, if I'm not mistaken. It's pink, the Third Dimension Chorus. What is that? Can you tell me the story about that pedal?
It's a chorus pedal. It's modeled after an older version of a pedal, so it is not truly vintage. I got it 5 or 6 years ago.
Those are like they were like $50, $60 range, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
And it's weird because it's interesting because it has buttons on it instead of any dials. So you can hit any combination of the 4 buttons and it will change the type of chorus effect that you're getting. So
that's great because very cool. Besides the chorus, is there any pedal that you use, or besides the compressor, is there any pedal you're using most of the time, or are you keeping it clean, completely volume up on the guitar, and then just turning distortion on when you need it?
Yeah, it's for the style of guitar that I play, a lot of the times I have to be able to go from really clean tones at light volumes to really heavy tones at loud volumes. So clean tone, just go right through the Keeley into the amp and nothing else. You'll hear me play that a lot tonight. And then the next pedal I probably play the most is the overdrive, and then you'll definitely hear that the little Big Muff make an appearance at some point in time tonight as well. So.
Fantastic. Lee, so live, it didn't look like you were using any vocal effects. When you're recording, do you have particular reverbs, delays, anything like that you like to use, or is it just all your voice when you're, obviously there's probably some kind of compressors that the producers are using or anything, but do you use any kind of vocal effects when you're recording?
So I will usually tell Josh Coy, who produces our albums, kind of what I want to sound like, and he'll set me up like that. I don't know any of the names of any of the plugins or anything, but I'm kind of hands off with that a little bit. I am looking forward to, I will say, Mark Turley showed us one of his new pedals called Spring Break, which is going to have some delay and reverb effects on it. So I think I'm going to add that when it comes out in a couple months, and add some effects to my vocals that I can kind of control. I do kind of ask the sound guy to slap a little reverb.
Right.
But other than that.
Big ups to Mark Turley, who is from Mattydale and an old friend of mine, and I found out old friend of theirs and everything like that. I own Gus Drive number 2, so yeah, I try to bring up Mark all the time because Summer School Electronics is doing some awesome stuff, and it's great to show love to all the local people. And before we get you guys off the couch, because I can hear the opening band started, Anthony, it's funny because those Fender Rumble amps, everyone's either playing those these days or the small Aguilar heads, it seems like that, because they sound absolutely amazing, lightweight. But I saw you have a cool Electro Harmonics bass DI that I've actually never seen. What are you using that pedal for?
Yeah, so I went to Gorham Brothers, oh yeah. I went to Gorham Brothers, who I love, in Syracuse.
Shout out to Gorham Brothers.
Yeah, and so I asked them for a Sans amp, like a DI box. And they were like, no, you should. They steered me in that direction, and I'm grateful for that because it has DI, it's got overdrive, and it has compressor, and it's got everything all in one. You know, it's just my one pedal. I do have a mono synth pedal, but I just got it kind of recently, and I haven't really worked out a role for it yet. But you know, that one pedal just covers everything that I do, so that's really awesome. Great.
I wanted to make sure I asked you because you were still here, and I was like, ooh, I'd love to see new pedals and everything like that. So shout out to Gorham Brothers for that suggestion. That's why you go to local places also, because they're going to not just sell you what you asked for, and they're going to be like, oh, by the way, we have this other cool product. So shop local guitar places, because if we don't, then they're going to go away. I was a big fan of Bebop Shop growing up. They were in the village of Liverpool, and I could rollerblade there to get strings and shit like that. So big fan of local stuff. So band is playing, so we're going to get these guys off the couch. Mattydale Music Collective. I want to say thank you guys. You guys actually reached out to me to do the interview, which was the first for me going into this, so I thought it was very, very fucking cool that you guys wanted me to be involved in the album release party. Go out and listen to the new album. And Funk N Waffles, thank you so much for giving us a place to do this. Bucket of Buds, thank you so much for sponsoring me. And Mattydale Music Collective, thank you for making awesome music to represent Central New York. And you guys have a new fan in me, and be spreading the word, and you get lots of new fans. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Peace. Awesome. I think that went well. Yeah. I think that went well. Awesome.
We had a mundane conversation about the way you made a mean comment about the women passing by. Without 17 cigarettes, that's what them that's how you see more than the last 6 days combined. Right. Poison in the air, poison in my mouth, poison in the breeze. She's in the sits lotus position, destruction and desire, mental incision, setting your thought on fire.
We are the Mattydale